Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. So, I have a confession to make. For the last probably 4 or 5 coffee chats, I have decaf coffee and colorful conversation. I have given up caffeine for the first time in over, God, it has to be 30 years that I'm drinking coffee every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. It is my favorite thing in the world. Well, not in the world, I have other favorite things, but I really love my coffee. I love the taste of it. I love the ritual behind it. I love iced coffee. I love hot coffee. I love regular coffee, lattes, all the things. So I had some issues recently with being a woman of a certain age and having to change my diet and all that fun stuff. And caffeine was one of the things that I needed to give up. So I still enjoy the ritual. I enjoy my little Hair Color Secrets Insider mug, which makes me smile when I drink out of it, knowing that all of my members are growing as successful colorists. That reminds me what my purpose and passion is. But I just switched to decaf, so I still get the ritual. I still get the warmth, around my hands when I hold my mug and all of the things that I love about it. So in anything in life, there's always a compromise. You don't have to totally, completely change everything. You can just change one thing and just make a little bit of an adjustment. So welcome back to my chat. Today, I wanted to share about education and what I've done recently to inspire and educate myself. As an educator, I'm not behind the chair every day now, so I'm not getting my hands in hair, and I was starting to feel like I really missed it a lot. So I was starting to look around when I go out to dinner or I go somewhere out in public, looking at different people's hair, thinking, who can I ask to be a model for me, and where can I go do their hair, and when can I, get inspired and do something new and different. So about 2 weeks ago, I guess it is now, one of my members, Sylvia, she had commented on a coffee chat that we live near each other. I had no idea. So she said, we need to get together for coffee. I was like, oh my gosh, I would love that. My favorite thing to do is to actually meet my Hair Color Secrets Insider members in person, because we chat all the time virtually and coaching calls and so forth, but we had not met in person. So she said, hey, I'm having Gary call over to my house with a couple hairdressers, would love for you to come. Are you interested? And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love that. And she is really great friends with another member, Johnny. So the two of them do things together. He's very close to me, which I did not realize, and so is she. So he's 30 minutes in one direction, she's 30 minutes in another direction. So for the three of us to get together, it's really super easy. So I had also been feeling like I really want to reach out and make more friends and meet more people, and COVID has made that really difficult. I moved, I was here maybe a year and a couple months before COVID hit, so you're not really in a rush to go meet a bunch of strangers during this crazy time. So I did two things since then. Since Sylvia reached out, I said, you know what? She reached out to me, and that was so nice. And she got me out of my comfort zone to go and meet her in person and Johnny in person. And I knew that I would love to meet Gary in person. He's also an educator and very passionate about hair color. So I went and I had a wonderful time, and it made me realize that being in person with other colorists has always been my greatest inspiration. And I've always walked away with something new, a new way to look at things. I try to stay open-minded. You can get really set in your ways when you've done something for as long as I have. I'm 35 years behind the chair, 32 years owning a salon. So you start to, over the years, see what worked, what didn't work, and you get a little bullheaded. I'm a Taurus too, which doesn't help. So I'm a Taurus the bull, and I'm kind of set in my ways, and I'm like, no, that doesn't work. I'm not going to do that. And one of the many things that I've dug my heels in on is when manufacturers state that their permanent color can be changed into a demi by using a special magical formula of developer. So I was always taught that that's absolutely impossible, that permanent is permanent, semi and demi are different and that you can't make one into the other. So our conversation was great with Gary. He is a wealth of information. He is part of the Hairbanger Academy with Lisa Loves Balayage. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that. So Gary jumps on there and does lives. He's also very involved with Kin products, Kin hair color. So I had only heard of Kin through Gary. It's one of those lines that's not, sponsoring every hair show. It's not all over the place. But what I love, what I found out from meeting Gary, and what I love about it is they are a company that believes in supporting the hairstylist, and there's not 5 million hands that need to be fed on that tube of hair color. So, right now when you buy one of the major brands, I could name 10 of them, but you know who they are. They're owned by big corporations, most that aren't even in the hair industry. It's, pharmaceutical companies and beauty brands and so forth. They have a big staff of president, vice president, CEO, CFO, all the different positions that one tube of hair color needs to pay all of those people. Where this company, the product comes from Spain, it goes to Gary, Gary sends it to you. So all those middlemen, those sales reps, those distributors, all of those things are cut out, and I like that a lot. So Gary I was calling him Santa Claus because not only was it great to meet him, but he gave me an entire really cool beach bag that says Hola, because Ken is from Spain, and it has a dry shampoo that I've used on my hair and I really liked. I love the smell of it. I liked that it wasn't super gritty. I could get that next day oomph in the top of my hair that I don't normally get. And he said, I'm going to send you some color to play with because I know color's your thing, and you let me know how you like it. There was no pressure. There was no cheesy sales pitch. We just sat around Sylvia's dining room table. She made an amazing charcuterie board, and I'm still thinking about it. It's my favorite meal. I can have a charcuterie board for dinner every night and be happy as a clam. So we sat and we chatted, and it was not staged or presentation style. It was just him talking about color, me talking about color, Johnny, Sylvia, everybody just weighing in on, I use that for this, or, have you ever tried that? And that to me is the ultimate educational experience. But we don't get to do enough of that, right? It's either the huge hair show with the music and the fog machines and the half-naked models and the glitter all over and really out there hairstyles. They're fun. They're fun to go to if you can, grab a cocktail and it's entertaining. More of like a runway show is amazing. But for me, if I'm going to take the time to get on an airplane, go to a hair show, I don't want the music and the thumping, the fog machines and all of that. I want to know, I'm happy to see your finished model, but I want to know how she got there. And not only do I want to know the how, I want to know the why. Why did you choose that hair color that you chose? So why am I talking about all of this? Well, several reasons. So I attended the BTC show virtually this year. I was really conflicted because when BTC first started doing their show, it was color. It was BTC Color Show. And as a colorist and someone who chose to specialize many, many years ago, the other frustration for me when I go to a show is, everything was razor cutting and, everything was about the cut, and they would do step by step for the cut. And then they would send off the cut and bring her back colored and not show it. And I was like, well, I want to know about the color. I don't really want to know about the cut. So that was always a frustration. So back in the beginning, I did not miss a BTC show. I went to Nashville. I went to, I think, Florida twice. I went to New Orleans. I mean, anywhere they went, I was there. And every single year I came home with a lot of inspiration, a lot of new products to try, and more money in my pocket because I was able to show my clients that I learned something new, tried something new, and gave them something new, better, and different. So the first year that BTC decided to do color and cut, it kind of lost me a little bit. They were packing way more people into the shows, so that intimate feeling went away. It was tons and tons of people, and it was both. So, you kind of had to split your time of learning color with all of these cuts and up. There was a lot of updos, a lot of bridal work. I have no interest in any of that. So, for me, the ultimate experience for me is really a hybrid experience. It's something that you can go in person. You can choose which things you want to see at any given time. Like my friend might want to go to that razor cutting class while I sit in on that hair painting class. And then we meet for lunch, and then we might both go to an Instagram, how to grow your Instagram class. But what I realized this weekend doing BTC virtually, I was happy that they offered that, because here's my ADD, back to me wanting to go. So I was like, I haven't been in a couple years, because the last one I went to, I was really disappointed. And I was like, let me give it another chance, because if I know Mary, she's been really like itching to get this going. She had to cancel it last year, and she's going to bring the big guns. It's going to be really great. And it was in Austin, Texas, which I've been, and I really enjoyed Austin, Texas. And I've been getting a little stir crazy with not traveling. So I looked at it, and I was like, I checked out the flights, I checked out the price for everything, and I saw what it was going to cost me. And I was like, I can't afford to spend that. First of all, risk getting sick, going into a crowd during the second wave and this variant of COVID, and also potentially being disappointed for a ticket it was going to be at least $1,500 or more for me to go, because I was going alone, so I didn't have anyone to share a room with, yada, yada. So then in my email box was, can't make it to the in-person show, we're opening up virtual tickets. And I was like, awesome, because I had such FOMO. I didn't want to miss the show completely, but I did not really want to go in person. So I signed up for the virtual, and here's the difference. Here's what I'm talking about when I say hybrid event. The beauty of a virtual event is both my own event, Revival, and other events that I've been to during COVID. I've been to many, many virtual events, both hair related and business related. What is wonderful about it is I'm sitting here with the largest screen that I choose to have. I can do it on my TV screen and have it really big. I can do it on my laptop. I can do it on my phone. So accessibility is huge. We've all been to a hair show where you have to use the restroom, and if you wait until the end of that class and go to the restroom, you're going to miss another class in the line of the restroom. So we either do the wiggle in our seat, or we get up and go during the presentation. And, Murphy's Law, it's always that one thing that you go to do that technique, and you're missing that one thing. And you're like, crap, that's when I went to the bathroom. So when I say hybrid, I love in a virtual event that you are there with a front row seat. You're watching it live as it's happening. If you need to get up and go to the restroom and you miss something, well, first of all, I bring the show to the restroom. I will log on to my phone at the same time as I'm logged on to my big screen. And if I go to the restroom, I bring my phone with me. My daughter makes fun of me because she'll hear the phone in the bathroom. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, I didn't want to miss that one step, and I had to pee. So that's a beautiful thing to be able to bring it with me. And there's always that something that you're like, wait, what did she say? During the live BTC, I was like, who is that girl? I missed her introduction, and she looks so familiar. It's making me crazy. So I was able to type into the chat, hey, that girl that's speaking right now, I missed her introduction. What is her name? And someone gave me her Instagram thing. And I was like, oh, that's right. I saw her before in another smaller venue. So the chat is the personal connection to other people at the show, which I love. The up close and personal front row seat, I love. And then the bonus, where it becomes a hybrid event, is having the replay to go back to. So BTC was doing their best to have day one replay available on day two, and so forth. So you didn't have to wait. Usually with BTC, when you buy the CDs of the event, you have to wait like a couple months, because doing all the editing is a lot of work. And I know that because we did Revival. So they were amazing, where you only had to wait a day to get day one on day two if you missed something. And then day three, you would get day two, and so forth. So that's where it becomes a hybrid event, because I felt like I was there in person with that up close and personal front row seat. Then I get to watch the replay as many times as I want. The girl that does my hair here in Florida is leaving. She is traveling the country. She's doing the RV and going to different areas and homeschooling her kids. And I'm so jealous that she gets to do that. So I'm sad because I really like the way she does my hair, but I'm excited for her. And I think it's amazing that she gets to do that. So in the beginning, when I met her, I noticed she did my hair completely different than anyone's ever done it. And anyone has ever taught me how to do what she did. So I was like, I need to take your class. And she was like, oh my God, no, you're going to intimidate me. You teach. I'm like, no way. I'm not going to intimidate you. I've been doing this 35 years. You're younger. You're doing it a different way. And it's a different technique. And I am inspired by you. I want to learn from you. So I was making her nervous by holding my phone up and recording as much as I could, because there was a little part of her that was like, oh, she teaches online. She's going to take what I'm teaching her and teach everybody. And then that's no longer my thing. And I said, oh my gosh, I would never do that. First of all, I would have you come and teach my group in a coaching call, or I would have you come to my retreat. I would never take your technique and act like it was mine. That's just not my style. But she didn't know me at the time. It was the first visit. So I'm at her class and I'm like trying to take little snippets because I know myself. When I go to a class and it's demo only, I'm sitting there watching it intently, but there's something about just watching that doesn't translate to doing for me. It just doesn't. I've done it a million times in different classes. No matter how much I try to take really good notes, this book comes with me. I like having a book like this so that I keep it. It's like more sturdy. It's not one of those little pamphlets that you get at a show. So if you go through here, it's like notes on different podcasts that I've done, different red, yellow, blue, like all the stuff that I talk about on here and in my membership, and also notes from a class. So when I look back at my notes, I laugh out loud because I'm like, what am I trying to say here? Because the class is moving quickly. You're trying to pay attention and archive it, write it down, and be able to refer back to it. So I didn't look at my notes. I went strictly from memory and I pulled out my doll head. There she is. She got pulled out. I was trying to do stuff to her because I was feeling in that funk. I needed to get my hands in hair, and I have tubs full of doll heads. And when I get in that mood, I just have to create something on my doll and get re-inspired. So I went on memory to what my colorist did to my hair, and something wasn't feeling right. The one step where I was painting into the tees at the roots, I was like, I don't remember her it looking like that when she did it. And then I'm thinking, when the tease comes out, that's going to be further down in the strand. This isn't making sense. And I kind of had the inkling that I was doing something wrong, but I kept going because, you're in the groove, your colors mixed. And I only did the back of her head for that reason. I stopped at the back. You see the front of her head. If I can do this without ripping my whole computer out. This is still damp because I didn't get to do anything there. And the back, the back I dried. There we go. So as I was blowing it dry, I was like, oh, this looks a lot better than she started out, but it's not, it looks more ombre. I definitely did something wrong. So I go into my phone, which is even worse than that book. It goes all the way back. I have to back up these photos or I'm going to lose them. I have so many pictures and screenshots and videos on there every class and show that I go to, which is a lot. So I went on my phone and I was like, that was the step that I missed. So for me, having a virtual experience and having that up close and personal, because let's face it, a look and learn virtually, you're going to get way more out of a look and learn virtually than an in-person. It just is what it is. You're all the way back in the classroom. You're watching it up on the big screen anyway. I would rather have it on the screen where I can stop it, look at it, rewind it, and have it, to own it. That's just my personal opinion. But an in-person, hands-on, amazing. Love that experience. And I love the energy and the camaraderie of an in-person show. And that is something, when I say hybrid, that we're bringing to Revival more this year. We did a little bit of it last year because we weren't sure how it was going to go with tech and all the things that need to happen for us to get the in-person part of that, the community piece. So this year we did a little bit shorter of a presentation. Last year I think we did 90 minutes for each presenter because we wanted you to see the before, during, and after. We didn't want you to be left hanging with what's it look like in the end. So I think we did a good job of that. People that attend at Revival loved the event. They said, they love looking back on the recordings. They're still watching them and they're still enjoying them. So I love that. So this year I said, now that we're more comfortable with the tech and we know more of what we're doing, because there's a lot of working parts, we're going to do more of the breakout sessions. And that's my favorite thing at virtual events. I still keep in touch with people that I've met at the virtual event that taught me how to do a virtual event. We each have events, we check in with each other, we compare notes on swag, we get things from each other, and we've never met. So you're going to have, the opening introduction, then a presentation from one of our amazing educators, and then we're going to have a breakout. And what I do is I click a button and I divide the crowd. Say we have 400 people, we have to have enough Zoom rooms to break out those 400 people into smaller intimate groups of like no more than 5. And then we have a prompt question where we may say like, what is your favorite lightener for a really pale platinum blonde? And that's the prompt. And then each person says, hi, I'm Elaine from St. Pete Beach. And I just started using, I just started trying that blonde solutions, which so far I'm not impressed with, but it was $100 for a bag of lightener and 1 developer. So I almost didn't want to love it. And to be fair, I didn't try it on a human head. I only tried it on a doll head, but it did not wow me the way that it should for that price. So that would be an example. And then you're not only learning from the educators during the event, you're learning from each other. I often share with you my relationship with my friend Ian, how it started off with him blowing my hair out. I got to be a model for Nancy Braun at one of her balayage classes in New York. And Ian put my glaze on and blew my hair out. And we instantly connected over Beth Minardi. We were talking about how we both stalk Beth Minardi and how much we love her education. And we were instant friends. So moving forward with our friendship, when we get together, yeah, we have fun and we talk about other things, but it always comes back to hair color. I was texting him during the BTC show because he and I both have used Alpha Parf in the past, and we said we wish Alpha Parf had a liquid demi because their colors are so rich and pretty and really keep the hair in great healthy condition, lots of shine, but they only had cream demi and cream permanent, and Ian and I both love a good liquid demi. So I was texting him saying, oh my gosh, they just announced that Alpha Parf is coming out with a liquid demi. We have to try it. And we bantered back and forth about it. And the girls at my salon are itching to switch lines, which is, I was talking to Gary, we're going to test the kin and hopefully love that. But that's what Ian and I do. And the best education that I've gotten has been conversations with him through either a phone call, a text, or he and I being at a show together and just commenting to each other during the show, whether we agree or disagree with what we're seeing on the stage. So there's something about that personal community relationship that I really am excited for all of you to experience during this year's revival. So, everybody that wants success has the best of intentions, right? We start out with, I'm going to do so much education this year and I'm going to get certified in this and certified in that. And people get so caught up in these certifications. I don't think that that's necessary. I think as long as you're learning and growing, there's no, who is the person that's certifying you? Who says that they know what they're doing? But the success is dependent upon you actually showing up. How many times have you purchased something? When you find out that there's a replay, I see it in my own group and I see it in the classes that I go to. Redken gives amazing free education through Eventbrite, Brite.com. If you go on there, there's countless free, I don't know so much now. I know during COVID, everything was free. They might be like $20 or $25 now, But I had some really good Shades EQ classes that taught me things I didn't necessarily know about Shades EQ. And then I pay it forward and share that with my group. So when I signed up for a blonding class on Monday, I also knew I had a one-on-one class scheduled with one of my members. And of course, I had to be present for my member. She was paying for the class. My class that I signed up for was a free class. So I counted on Redken sending me the replay. They do not send replays on those free classes. And I'm kind of glad, for my own purposes, I'm not glad, but I'm kind of glad that they don't, because if you're getting something given to you free, you should show up, right? Like the least you can do is show up for the person when they're teaching it live. Having the replay after you show up is a courtesy for you to reflect back on the class. But if you don't show up, do you really deserve to have it hand delivered to you in your mailbox to watch whenever you want, when you're not going to? You're not going to show up ever for it. If you didn't show up live for it, chances are it's going to go down in your mailbox and you're not going to show up for the replay. So something that happened last year to people that had the best of intentions for our Revival show. Revival is Sunday and Monday. BTC was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that was a big chunk of time. But I'm a nerd, so I blocked that time out in my calendar and I showed up live. I'm happy that I'll have access to the replay, but for me, I wanted to see it. It's kind of like when a big football game is on and people say, oh, we're DVRing it. Well, you're going to know who won and who lost and what the big play of the game is. If you tape it and watch it, that's old school. But if you record it and watch it later, it's not the same. So I wanted to be present live as if I was there. I wanted to feel the energy of the crowd, which was not good energy at all. It was like the most lame crowd I've ever heard at a BTC event. And in defense of them, they might have turned the volume down for us virtual people so that we didn't get blasted out of the room with the crowd. But every time they tried to get the crowd going, it was like one clap. So I don't know what that was about. I don't know if it was a smaller crowd or if the energy just wasn't there because of all the fear of the COVID and all of that. I don't know, but it just wasn't the same. So with Revival, you have the choice of a general admission ticket, gets you full access to everything, the breakout sessions, every educator. You do not have access to the meet and greet cocktail party with the educators. That's part of the VIP experience. And you do not get the replays for general admission. We do a general admission because we don't want to prevent people from being able to come at all. Like if money is an issue, which of course this has been a bad year for everyone, we didn't want people to just completely miss it. So if you're doing general admission, do that if you plan on showing up and being all in, because you want to experience everything. You don't want to miss anything. If you're afraid at all that you have an appointment in between, you have to pick up kids at school, it's a long day. If you think you're going to miss anything, I highly suggest you purchase the VIP and splurge, because you get so many bonuses. We have more bonuses this year than ever. We're doing our swag virtually this year. So all of the swag is, I shouldn't say all, most of the swag is digital. And then there's a special gift from Rusk that's going to VIP ticket holders only. So anyone who has a VIP ticket is going to get a really nice gift delivered to your home from Rusk. And then the bonus swag is insane. It's like a whole other Revival library basically, and you get that for an entire year to watch as many times as you want. So I hope to see most of you there. I know I already have 32 tickets sold to people in my membership who attended. They're like, I wouldn't miss it. It was a great show last year. Most of my members now have relationships with all of those educators that they met through Revival. I see them comment on their posts. Marion Phillip Wilson, Vivian, a lot of the people that attended Revival joined Vivian's membership, and they're learning from her how to do, photography work and how to up-level your dress work and all the things Vivian is so well known for. And I love that. That's my favorite part of what I do. I've always considered myself, even when I was behind the chair every day in the salon, I was always a better people person and connector than I was at actual hair techniques. I'm terrible at updos. They did some updos in BTC during this weekend. One woman put a blindfold on and attached a big hair piece to her model's head and had a blindfold on and did this big intricate updo. I was very impressed by that. I couldn't do an updo with my eyes and 4 other people's hands and eyes. I'm terrible at updos. So we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, but Vivian is amazing at all of those things, and that will never be part of my membership. My membership is 100% the business of color, color itself, corrective color. Everything that I teach is what I specialize in. I've specialized in color for the last 18 years of my 35 years. So I didn't do razor cuts, I didn't do dry cuts, I didn't do waxing, I didn't do updos, bridal makeup, none of that. I was all in on color, both in doing and in learning. So when I advance my education now, which I always do multiple times a year, I will never stop learning, because I'm going to get boring. If I stop learning new techniques, then I can't share new techniques with people that come to me to learn. So it's all about me bringing it in and then paying it forward and sharing it along the way. And Revival is a great passion. I look forward to this time. I'm going to do it every year as long as you all are coming. I will be doing it, and I will be bringing you. I already have people lined up for next year that could not be with us this year. It was much easier last year because everybody was home for COVID. So now people that said yes had to turn around and back out because their commitments through the manufacturer that they're tied to had to reschedule so many things for COVID that they rescheduled them for the same weekend that Revival is. So that was a bummer, but we still have amazing people coming to educate. We have 1, 2, 3 from abroad. We have 1 from Australia, 1 from Ireland, and 1 from the UK this year. So that's something new. Revival has gone international because I want to always bring new content and new energy to the event. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, the pre-sale is $20 off. We usually don't discount the tickets at all, but we're rewarding our action takers, and it's $20 off on the pre-sale until the 28th of August. So I will drop the link in here. I'll put it here in the comments, and then I'll put it again when I hang up from here. I'll put it in the title of this broadcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll also put it underneath the video on YouTube. Sorry, I'm on my other page trying to find this. I wasn't prepared to talk about Revival, so I didn't have the link saved. But it really is the best of both worlds. It feels like both an in-person and virtual event because you have the replays to go back to, and you won't have the experience I had where I thought I was doing the technique right until I watched the video back again. So there's the link in the comments to join us for Revival. I hope to see you all there, and I will see you again here next week for coffee and colorful conversation. See you soon. Have a great week.